Hi guys. So welcome to Module 2, Leadership. If I ask you to tell me the difference between a leader and a manager, what would you say? You might think of some people that you would call a leader. But if I ask you to tell me why you think they're a leader, chances are you might pause. Because I think we all can identify a person we think of as a leader. And we can probably all think of someone that we would identify as a manager. But what is the difference? When I first started working many years ago, my first boss called me all the time and would ask me to do things on my days off. And it was very confusing because I thought, wait, I'm supposed to be off today and you're calling me to do these things. And what I didn't realize at the time is she was something called a pace setter. She was asking me to do work on my days off because she was actually doing work on her days off. And she didn't think anything about it. In other words, she was working at this level, and she was expecting me to work at the same level. And it wasn't until later in my career that I learned there's different styles of leadership. There's actually 6. And Daniel Goldman introduced the world of business to these 6 styles. And once I learned about the 6 styles of leadership, I totally understood what made that manager of mine ask me to do crazy things and ask me to work on my day off. And once you understand leadership styles, it helps you to understand where that person is coming from. But having said that, let's get back to leader versus manager. So when we think about a manager, what comes to mind? A manager is a person who holds a position. They're in a position of power because they've been hired for that position. So that means that by virtue of their title, you have to do what they tell you to do. If they walk out the door and quit, someone else is going to sit in that seat, in that position, about 5 minutes later. So that's a manager. A leader, on the other hand, is a person that can motivate others by saying, I have a vision. I have an idea. And they have the ability to translate that to other people, to motivate them to work towards that same vision, to work towards those same goals. So, as I was saying in the introduction, can a leader be a manager? Can a manager be a leader? Or are they completely different? The simple answer to that is most leaders have been managers and can be managers, but many managers cannot be leaders. So there must be some qualities and traits that make it very different. So let's take a look at this. Leading versus managing. There is overlap. Both of them want to accomplish a goal. Both of them have to explain vision. Both of them are figureheads. Both of them have to motivate other people to do things, right? And both of them have to mobilize resources. Well, let's look at the differences. Managing involves policy and procedure and power and control and managing work and managing outcomes and focusing on the task at hand. They're usually reactive. They're usually focused on plans. They're usually focused on maintaining the status quo, which is improving, continuous improvement. They're focused on giving direction, while leading is focused on people. It's focused on leading people. So over here, what you see is a lot of words, people, vision, creating value, inspiring, influencing, followers, appealing to the heart, sets direction, asks questions. So, what is the difference? The difference is the focus. The difference is the position, yes, because a manager is a position by virtue of their title. But the difference is the focus. And a leader is very people focused. So as we get into this module, I want you to think about, number one, your personal leadership style. You're going to take a test and you're going to find out what is your leadership style. You're going to find out not only your leadership style, but you're going to figure out what's your temperament, what's your personality color. And what I hope is that as you delve into the material and we start to look at a case study, you can apply what you know about yourself to other people in the cases. And you can start to realize that you have a unique style of leading. And while you're going to want to use all the different styles to help you make decisions in your job, you do have a leadership style. And I want you to understand it better. And I want you to focus on how you can use that to influence people in a positive way, to empower people in a positive way, not just managing, but actually leading. So let's get into it.